Welcome back to the Angry Money Pod. A big shout out to our amazing listeners and a warm welcome to the new faces joining us today. We've got a power episode lined up for you. Our guest Emmanuel Faith, an award-winning HR specialist with experience with companies that we both love and know, like Carrywise and TechAbout. Emmanuel will be sharing tips on how to crush your job applications and interviews, negotiate the race with confidence, and build a dream team. Get your notebooks ready because this episode is packed with actionable steps. Let's jump right in.
Um, Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Angry Money Pod. I'm so excited. I'm always excited. I think you should be used to it by now. I'm always excited. And today's guest is actually a favorite, and I can't wait for everybody to basically learn from it. So as usual, get your biros, your pen, your notepad because you're about to get amazing and you're about to learn a lot. So without further ado, let's dive in. Hi EF, how are you doing?
Hi, good afternoon. It's a Tuesday afternoon. It rained in the morning, so I'm feeling sleepy. Unlike you people, I don't have a 9 to 5 right now, so I'm chilling.
I
But
really
I'm
want
good.
to
I'm good.
be.
I'm very.
Oh, that's so nice. It's actually been hot here. I don't know why. Maybe rain does not want
Ah,
to show in my sight.
it's not raining your side.
No, I didn't do it. Didn't.
Maybe it's
Mm.
gonna pour libation to the gods of the heaven.
Hi, John. Did it rain in your side? And how are you doing?
I think it I think it did, but I'm not so sure. Everywhere's still hot at the moment. Hopefully we're looking forward to rain
It's
today.
actually still hot,
More rain.
but at least the rain
Well, I'm
calms
good.
Mm,
I'm good
enter.
actually.
okay. So EF, I would like you to introduce yourself. But now this is a very interesting part. You're supposed to introduce yourself without mentioning anything work related, anything HR related, because if we are supposed to switch your name from EF, we can move on into HR. However, you're not supposed to mention anything HR related first. Then we'll now do a proper introduction. So over to you. Let's meet you.
Okay, cute. So I actually I like when people ask me questions like this. I think that there are some gatherings where I attend and like, oh, introduce yourself without your work. Because yeah, we are supposed to have life outside work. So me
Mhm.
without my work. Hi everybody, my name is Emmanuel Faith, and I'm a K-drama fan, and I love watching women football.
Hmm.
Um, my favorite food is rice and beans, and that's also the only food I can cook comfortably. When I am not watching women football or tweeting about K-drama, you will find me writing poetry to my imaginary lover. And I think that
Oh,
those are what describes me outside work.
that's very interesting. Like, it's actually very interesting. And yes, I actually always read your Medium posts. They're actually always amazing. I think you're a good writer. You know, you
Thank
know, you know, you
you.
know, you
I
know.
like when people tell
How,
me, it reminds me.
yeah. I think the first time I knew you was your 2023 review. And I'm like, yes, finally. Every other person, you just they give review that we don't understand. So yes, I think that's how I knew you. And I'm like, I'm following this person. And here you are on my podcast. What a privilege. I'm starstruck.
Welcome.
So how
Thank
would you
you.
introduce yourself work-wise?
Okay, yeah. So hi, my
Sure.
name is Emmanuel Faith. You can notice the change of tone. I'm a globally certified human resource professional with almost a decade for sector experiences that cuts across finance, fintech, digital media, and renewable energy. Oh my, don't try. Okay. I mean, I
Nice.
started my career. I had a very interesting conversation with a senior colleague who told me that I actually started my HR career before I started my HR career. So now I have increased the span. So I started my HR career 2017 as a student recruiter. And I delved into tax, which is like another interesting part of my story before coming back to HR. I have had the opportunity to lead the people team in two very important companies in two very important industries. So I was the lead people and culture at Carrywise Financial Technology, and I was the head of talent management at Big Carbon Media. I mean, you cannot talk about fintech in Nigeria and not mention Carrywise, and you cannot talk about digital media in Sub-Saharan Africa and not mention Big Carbon Media. That sort of shows you the quality that I have and the quality of the places that I have worked with. When I am not doing HR, I feel like I mentioned that already. But yeah, I'm either watching women football, writing about women football, or watching K drama, or writing a beautiful poetry or nonfiction. And that's me in few words.
That's actually very
Amazing.
interesting. First of all, I'm a very big fan of Carrie Rice. Very, very, very big fan. And actually, I really right. We have worked in two industries, and like you said, you have tried. You said don't try, don't try. And on this subject matter we're about to talk about, I couldn't think of any other person to basically allow people to where anybody can learn from, because you have the industry, you have the talent, you have the know-how to get. So I think the first question I would ask is, what is HR? Some people have kind of made it look like, oh, you want to recruit someone that is giving sack letter, someone that is to hire somebody. But what exactly would we talk about? How exactly would you describe the human resource space?
Very
Or
brilliant question. Yeah, that's a good way to start this conversation. I like to describe human resource management as the act of managing people and processes to achieve business goals and objectives. So what happens is that, like you said, they call us hiring and firing managers. When I get the opportunity to either speak to like HR community or HR enthusiasts or people looking to start at their career in it, I let them know that people is just a subset, right? There is people, there is processes, and then there is business alignment, business goals and objectives. So as an HR professional, what you are doing every day is that you're managing people and processes to align with business goals and objectives. People do not just like companies do not just HR of companies do not just wake up to say, hey, we are going to hire 10 people today, or we are going to let people go today, or we are now signing up on LinkedIn, right? Every people process that you see is a result of some sort of business alignment or some business goals and objective. And people need to remember that part. Again, maybe because half of my HR career has been in lead roles. Maybe, but people need to know that HR is really about managing people and processes to achieve business goals and objectives.
I honestly think it's simplest, direct, easy to understand, and deep definition I've ever heard. I really like that you mentioned it is directed to the business organization. So it's not just there because somebody feels like, oh, let's just have somebody to manage people. The
No,
end
it's
goal of it is the end goal of it is to actually achieve business goals. So I don't know if you
not.
can talk a bit about those business goals that an HR helps to accomplish, or basically from your experience, what goals have you achieved, business goals have you been able to achieve?
Oh, okay, that's fine. You want me to touch this to an HR class? I am going to resist the temptation too. But yeah, so in a minute or two, I'll just give practical illustration. Okay, so let me start by using Carrywise. When I joined Carrywise, we are trying to move from, like I tell people, Carrywise version 1 to Carrywise version 2. Right? That means that I was the 18th employee at Carrywise, and in 90 days, we were 30. Right? So that means that at that point, the business goal was to, yeah, we're going to do a pre-seed. Was it pre-seed or series A? It was pre-seed. Yeah. So that means that my first task was to acquire the talent that will help build the next level of Carrywise. Right.
Mm,
So at that point, my focus was talent acquisition, quality talent
mm,
acquisition, because I was also redefining the culture. So we were expanding from a small niche team where half of the team were like the founding members to version 2 when we're now hiring people from, like, we had to hire like a finance manager, like people that have been exposed to different kind of culture, right? So just at that point, I was managing both change management and talent acquisition. At some
mm,
point, my priority was not talent acquisition. My priority was talent retention, because we did not want people to go. And I had to like wake
mm,
up. And when I wake up, what I think about every day is, how can I make people at work happy and productive? Yes, people are unhappy
mm.
and people are productive. So how can I make them happier and more productive? If
Productive.
our ENPS is Employee Net Promoter Score. It's literally the score that measures
Mm,
employee engagement or satisfaction. I remember that we carried out an ENPS at some point, and the average score was 8, which is an absolutely, if you ask any HR in the nearest future or anywhere, 8 is an absolutely fantastic score, especially in this Nigeria where economy is frustrating. Guess what? My CEO sent me a message afterward and said, so 8 is good. How can we get to 9.5? Right? Yeah. So then my goal had moved from talent acquisition and people management to talent retention and employee satisfaction. Right. When I joined BCM, they were in crisis. They were in people crisis. My first task there was employee satisfaction. Again, they were not doing any talent acquisition because they were a large company of over 100 members of staff across different countries in the world. So there was no need for acquiring the talent. The primary goal when I joined was to just increase employee engagement, increase employee satisfaction. And I can keep giving different illustrations. So at every point in time, business have different challenges, and the kind of challenge they might not even have a challenge. They might just have a goal, an objective. And the goal and the objective you are looking to achieve at that point will determine the people direction and the processes direction for the organization. Yeah. So I hope that gives context.
Yes, you gave a lot of context, a lot of context. Thank you very much for sharing that example. And I think just to tip it out or just to say this clearly, so if you're an HR person in your organization, you have to ask yourself, what are you actually, what goal are you solving? So if you're not solving a goal, go back to the drawing board. Because as you can
Yeah.
see, you're not just supposed to say, how are you doing? You're actually supposed to help achieve a goal. And if you want to be like, yes, you want to move the number from 8 to 10, you can do
Send
this.
me a DM, don't worry.
Yes, please do send him a DM. I really want to talk about, first of all, in all this you explained, I don't know if you're trying to be humble. You didn't mention that you nearly registered a new company.
Oh
And
yeah.
where I want to do, okay, do you want to talk about that
No,
quickly?
no, okay. You wanted to go somewhere.
Yes, I wanted to ask, the next set of questions I want to ask are really about the value that this new startup that you have is supposed to bring to life, which is around building a career path, just really ensuring that your applications are better, right? So I'm a founder, Rosemary is a founder, you're a founder, and a lot of times when we put out job applications, to be very honest, we have seen a lot of resumes. And right now, people are always looking for jobs, but you find out that the people who are looking for jobs, another people are getting recommendation back to back, back to back. So my question is, as an HR person, how can one person or how can an individual create a resume that stands out, right? What are the do's and don'ts quickly?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. Nigerians say that when you say respond, when you respond that way, you're about to say nonsense. I don't know. But also one, I respect you funders. I run away from the term funder. But yeah, now that I mentioned it, now so I don't become funder like that. I don't register my business. Okay, so hi listeners. I run like a consulting company called the company sounds so weird, but yes, we are registered by CAC or with CAC. Okay, so I run a consult company called Luminous Consult. It's a spin-off of a lot of things. I launched HR Clinic last year. I didn't include that. Yes, I'm very humble. I didn't include that in my introduction. Yeah, let me include that now, guys. I won. I was nominated as one of the top 20 disruptive people managers in Nigeria last year, right? So by UK brand, by the way. So they came to do research in Nigeria, looked at all the HR and said, "Yeah, one of the top 20." And then I also won the HR of the year from No Code Summit. So No Code Summit is the largest gathering of no code professionals in Nigeria, right? And I won the HR of the year. So in Yoruba, they say, "Me no okay," right? And then yeah, so last month I decided to like register my consulting company, and I registered it for many reasons. But one of the reasons is also the question that my hosts, have asked. I realized that a lot of people struggle with first, application, second, career clarity. Like a lot of people send DMs to me, "Oh, I am at this stage of my career. What do I want to do next?" Last week, not last week actually. Today is Tuesday, Abby. Yesterday I rejected like a
Yeah.
very juicy offer just because even though the offer was juicy monetarily, it didn't align with what I want to do next career wise. And like I told my brother was like, "Oh, I'm not going to collect it for the money." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to collect an offer from the money." So a lot of people are at that junctions every day. It happens every day. They want to transition, they want to stay in their career beyond move up, they have a difficult manager, they have been having challenges in interviews and all that. So that's what Luminous Consult does. Thank you for reminding me to talk about that. Send us a DM on Instagram or Twitter. We will respond in 24
Yes.
hours. Yeah, that being said, answering your question about resume, and I think there's also a question around the interview. So this response that I want to give will probably cover both. Life is really in metrics and impact, right? Everything I've talked about so far are like impact. Oh, I was nominated as top 20 disruptive people leaders in Nigeria. If you are listening to this podcast and you are getting bored, when you hear, "Oh, the guest was one of the top 20 disruptive people in Nigeria," you would pause and you would want to listen. I won the HR, and talent recruiter of the year in Nigeria. I don't know how many HRs, are in tech, right? So that is impact. And that is what happens in resume. People write job. People write what they do. People do not write the metrics or the impact of what they did. Remember when I was talking about,
Mm.
I mean, I didn't read you people's question, by the way, just so you know. I didn't even know that I was going to answer this question. But remember when I was talking about my role at CarrierWise, I said, oh, I moved CarrierWise from version 1 to version 2, and we moved from 18 to 30. Like, I'm not even in an interview or anything, or by default, I'm already responding in metrics and in
Yes.
impact. If this was like a standard interview, I'd probably say something like, oh, I managed the increase of it or the expansion of talent size by 40% in the first 3 months. And that is how I will write it on my CV. So you've done work, you coordinated AFS. That's what it, or the, what's the meaning of AFS again? Annual financial statement. I'm trying to like play around career so I don't stay within HR. You design the landing page, you're a customer experience person. How many customers do you attend to per day? And like, how does that impact? You're a CX specialist at Cable, right? So you take 100 calls per day or you take 1,000 calls per day. How has that translated to impact, for Cable? Do you have like a survey that you put out at the end of the week? Even at the end of each call, do you have a survey where customers feel if they are satisfied or not? And then what's the percentage of satisfaction? When you begin to think about, and like these are lessons I learned bitterly, by the way, guys. So I'm sharing free lessons for you. When you begin to think, I mean, like now it has not even seeped into my daily conversation, right? So when you begin to think about your life and then your career in terms of metrics and impact, it would help you as you write your resume, as you apply for interviews, as you apply for grants, as you apply for scholarships, because you are just thinking, I did this. Can I measure the metric of this? Or can I narrate
Mhm.
the impact of this? There are some that you'll be able to do both. There are some that you'll be able to do either. But always just think about the things you do in metrics or in impact and write your resume that way. That's like, the first distinctive.
Yeah. And I think that that's actually really spot on because even me as a founder, I don't think you should leave me because I have just few minutes looking at your CV. I don't think it's wise to just leave me with, okay, what impact did this really make? Because if you have done it before, you can do it again, right? So always add metrics and always write impact to your CV, right? Now, the next one I want to ask you is about LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn
Yeah.
definitely is a professional ground. Now, how should somebody seeking for job really use LinkedIn to their advantage, right? Is there a wrong way to use LinkedIn and is there a right way to use LinkedIn?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. Let me put this disclaimer out there. Like everything, like I will share in this conversation is are tips. The thing about tips is that aggregation of them might work, aggregation of them might not work, but it has worked for people
Mm-hmm.
and it would work for you. Amen. Fire. Okay, so I think that but the thing about LinkedIn, I had a conversation with, was it Career Buddy? No, I'm giving Career Buddy free PR. Did not pay for it. Anyway, and I was just having a chat and, so I won a free LinkedIn revamp with them. So they talked about how, and which is something I'm also aware of, they talked about how sometimes recruiters search for keywords. So keywords in your
Mm-hmm.
profile, keywords in your bio, keywords in your job description, like where you list the things that you've done wherever you're working. So for example, if they are searching for talent acquisition specialist, so say somewhere in my bio or somewhere in my job description, I'd written manage the talent acquisition of or led the talent acquisition of, there are chances that my profile will come up. So the first thing is actually to have a good profile. Because I was going to say, put out content, yada, yada. But the first thing is to have a good profile. Because sometimes you might not even put out content. But because your profile is really good, there's something recruiters called Boolean search. I mean, you guys are PMs. I don't know if you guys know Boolean search, but Boolean search is really searching using combination of keywords, right? For example,
Mm-hmm.
they want to hire an HR manager that has sub-Saharan Africa experience. So a recruiter will go to LinkedIn and put human resource manager, sub-Saharan Africa, and then names will come up, right? People that have some sort of HR manager experience in companies that are sub-Saharan Africa related. If they want to do HR in tech, right? They just go to LinkedIn and search HR in tech. Or I want to hire HR that graduated from, I don't want to use my school. You went to Unilag, yes. So human resource manager, Unilag. So I want to hire someone that graduated from Unilag. If I put that, you can try it. If you put that in LinkedIn, it would bring up people that had their bachelor's degree or their master's degree at Unilag, and they're also HR professional. So when you have the right things in your LinkedIn profile, there are higher chances that you will be found. Secondly is to like just share thought expertise, be expertise thoughts. Oh, my English is hard. Share expert
Yeah.
thoughts about your area of or your profession, right? Let people stop Now they've done the Boolean search and your profile have come up. So what do they say on your profile? Is it
Mm.
has not posted since 90 days ago? Has not posted since 180 days ago. As even if it's just one article per month or one post per month, let a recruiter stop by your profile.
Mm.
Except you went to Harvard or Stanford. See, if you went to Harvard or Stanford or MIT, don't worry, don't post. They will hire you. I went to lag away you like me, oh man, I don't know for you. let them stop by your profile and say some similitude of expertise. I used to say I've not got to the job on LinkedIn before, but now that I remember, I got carried away through LinkedIn because the CEO reached out because he had gone through my LinkedIn profile. But I've gotten like speaking opportunities from LinkedIn before, right? I just write, I mean, the biggest entire speaking opportunity in my life, which is like being on BBC panel. I put on LinkedIn, I wrote a very interesting post about gender wage parity. I do not know how it got to BBC side. When reporter actually saw it, like I thought it was scam, to be honest. Sent me an email. I even did see her email like 3 weeks after. So I missed the edition she actually wanted me to join. And I had to like join the next edition. I think that's the biggest. I mean, this is still the biggest that I've done. And it came through LinkedIn. So it might not even be like a job opportunity. But no matter how much people criticize LinkedIn, there is a lot of exposure and visibility that LinkedIn can give you. Right. So one, have a good profile. Secondly, like have like good content. Share your thoughts. Let people stop by your profile and feel like you are doing something worthwhile and like they can have an idea of what you're doing. Yeah. So
Allow me to take it in because that was actually, I really like how much you were able to really break it down one after the other to really like, I can remember, like if I close my eyes, I can literally remember how you explained it. And I just like that. You just made it very clear that when you position yourself in the right way, you are very prone to see like more opportunities come your way, to be honest. Now, interviews can be very scary. Interviews can be very, very scary. So the question I have is maybe two in one is how can one prepare effectively for for an interview and after the interview leave a very impressive post interview impression on the person. So I want you to speak about it from maybe a junior level to also a senior level, just like
okay.
any.
Yeah. I mean, so this is interesting because I spent like 2 hours teaching how to use an interview. The first disclaimer I should give is that you can have an amazing interview and not be selected, right? I mean, I binged movie overnight because I got a rejection mail from a job I really wanted. And, the person was like, oh, like it wasn't you. There were just a lot of competitions. I'm like, thank you. Sounds like a breakup line. But I think the very important thing is that you should ensure that you have done your best, right? Such
Mhm.
that I've done it as a recruiter where someone does not make the cut in my company, but the person was so good. So when there was like a role, maybe around me in my HR community, someone say, "Oh, I'm looking for," I'm like, I interviewed one guy last year, or I interviewed one lady last month. She didn't make it to our company, but she is good, right? And then the person then go ahead and get the job, with that company. So more importantly than getting a job, which is literally the goal of an interview, is actually to like leave a very quality impression. Now, people are very scared of interviews. I'm trying to remember the last time I experienced trepidation during an interview. That's to be checked. Yeah. So because I interview a lot, I do not like I'm now very used to it. The first rule of interviews is that interviews are conversations, right? You're literally
Mhm.
conversing with the other person. And you should know that they are also scared because they do not want to make the wrong decisions. One. Two, they are also human. So different things can let them move you to the next level or take them make you get eliminated at a certain range. When you factor in all that, you would do not make the most boring interviews I've attended, both as a recruiter and as a talent, are like the mechanical interviews. Tell me about yourself. In fact, I try to not like make interviews like very mechanical. I start with like very lightweighted conversations. I let like conversations flow seamlessly, like that. So ensure that as much as possible, the interview is very conversational. Of course, you should read the job description such that whatever response you are giving aligns with the job description, aligns with what the company does. If it's possible, if some companies are very generous. I call it generous because some companies don't. You're able to see the people that will interview you. If it's like a panel of 3 or a panel of 4, you're actually able to see the names of all these people. Go ahead and research about them. If you're listening to this podcast and you're like a law person or a finance person, this is like a free tip. right? Go and research about them, find out their interest, and name it. Talk about it when you're talking. If you're interested in IPL, make reference to it during your call. Find a way to put it somewhere. If it's an hobby, mention their hobby. You can add their hobby to your hobby. You can research about their hobby before the call. Just ensure that they're. I've interviewed journalists that I didn't get before, and then I can get the feedback that there were multiple points of connection, right? So it's very important, right, that you know that it's a conversation and you're selling yourself. So if you get to the interview stage, I think I interviewed with one university for an MBA last year, and my friends were like, this school, they will give you admission. Like, they were so sure. Me, I was scared. This, that, like, The question is not if they will give you admission or not. The question is to what scholarship will they give you, right? I love you. The school gave me admission, gave me some scholarship, but Naira to fund the remaining money I now have it. So I said, thank you. But the interview was almost 2 hours. Like, the interviewers kept on apologizing. Like, they were just enjoying the conversation. They were asking more questions. And when we looked at it, was like 90 minutes. I'm like, this interview is supposed to be 1 hour, but we talked for 90 minutes. Shame, we should start adding up now. So it's very important that you just make the conversation, you know, you make the interview very conversational. And while it's conversational, you're not carried away. You're selling your point. Remember, again, metrics and impact. They will ask you different questions, technical questions, non-technical questions. When you do not know something, let them know that you do not know X, but like you know Y, right?
Mm.
And this probably for people that are junior level. So I think it was an interview with Sterling Bank. I can't remember. They asked me something that I did not know. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I do not know that word, but I know this one. And I think that this one is the similitude of that one. Like, yeah, okay. And then the interviewer now went to explain, what I could not answer, right? Again, remember, you might have an amazing, talking from a recruiter's POV now, you might have an amazing interview and not get tired. Like, it's just life. Life is there are just a lot of competition in this world. My last newsletter, the title is Lesson from Duolingo. I talked about how, I was trying to get promoted to the next league, and there were just like 12 other people also trying to get promoted. I'm like, why are you people disturbing me from getting promoted? Right. So you are like, it's sometimes not you. People are just exceptionally good. But you also want to ensure that you make a great account of yourself such that if for some reason, they now need an extra. It has happened, when I was at Kaiwise, I've interviewed like twice and candidate didn't make the final cut, and we had someone else, and 3 months after we needed someone, and then I called the person that was second best and say, hey, Alpha, are you still looking for work? Do you still want to work with us? And like, the person comes, right? So 3 months after, 4 months after. So ensure that you give the best account of yourself. I think that that's the most important thing. And how do you give the best account of yourself? Be very confident, sell the value that you bring to the table, and ensure that you have exciting conversations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I could relate with it a lot, but let me just say, just in case EF is your interviewer, ensure that you mention Korean movie and ensure that you mention female football. So he has told you now, so don't say that you did not hear it. And when you get the job, come and pay bills, do
You
you get? Because
offer
of how important it is, right? Thank you
just
so
to add
much
to
for
that.
mentioning.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
if you're doing anything that has to do with social impact, like, please mention it. I'm a big fan. I'm too lazy to do social impact, so I respect people that do it.
See, he has given insight. See why people should be listening to Angry Money, and I think that actually makes sense. Like, from a founder's point of view, you're actually right with, like, very spot on with the fact that even the founder or whoever is trying to recruit doesn't want to make the wrong choices, and sometimes, to be very honest, it is not always entirely your fault, right? And I also like that you mentioned confidence. So you can learn to be confident, just really practicing and look back. Right. So a few minutes ago, you mentioned how, like, people are always in your DM. How you do it? Well done. And people are always at defining stages in their lives, and most especially in their careers. So what exactly would you like? How exactly, if somebody comes to meet you and says, I don't know if I should upskill. I don't know if I'm okay right now. I don't know if I need to gain more knowledge. Like, how would you walk the person through this entire phase?
Yeah. You people, this $50 per hour, I should let you know.
Don't
Okay,
worry.
so
1 million steps.
three bullet points, right? The first question is always asking, what does next look like for me? So
Mm.
if you're at a confusion, it means that you're tired of what you're doing at that moment, or you're not finding fulfillment in what you're doing at that moment, or you might even be happy doing it and they might pay you good money and your colleagues might be the nicest, but you feel like there is more. So what does that more look like? For some, more means like going to a new field entirely. For some, more means moving to a bigger company. For some, more actually means leaving that bigger company to come to a smaller company with larger responsibilities. Like I've seen
Hmm.
people do it. I mean, I was at Paystack Operators last month, and the CEO was talking about how she left World Bank to come and be CEO of Paystack, and I'm like, ah, I'm not sure that any career clarity will make me do that, but okay, right? And she was so excited when she was talking about it, and the CEO was also like excited, right? So, like, what does more look like for you? Is it a bigger job? Is it a career break? To go for like an academic pursuit? Is it a bigger job to a smaller job with larger responsibility? Is it like a new career entirely? Is it a side gig that excites you, right? So defining what more looks like for you then would align on the next step. If it's you need to take a career transition, you want to do like a 6 month plan, and in 6 months, what do you want to do? You want to take courses, you want to attend a boot camp, especially if you're like beginner or mid level, right? You want to take. I think that is very not very, but it's easier to transition as like junior when you're just starting your career and like when you're mid level. For us now that I've entered senior, the only way to transition is to go and do an MBA or to do a master's in another course entirely. So it's either, as you progress in your career, but like at the beginning and like mid level, 3, 4 years, you can still like do a lot of adventure. And it doesn't even mean like senior people do not, do a lot of adventure. It's just that it's a more expensive trade-off, right? So imagine I want to go and start my career in data analysis now. That's interesting. Except I decided to go and do a master. So I can do a master's in people analytics, right? And then from there, and I'll say, hey, I'm tired of people's problem are too much. I want to look at the number side, right? So answering those questions are very important. What does next look like for me? What do I need to move to the next? And you should know that there are a lot of things you can't control. It's very important I put that out there. So you should focus on things you can control. You cannot control moving from a content writer to getting a product designer job, right? But you can control how
Yeah.
much effort you put into learning Figma. You can control the kind of communities that you join. Are you joining design communities? You can control the 30-day design challenge that you do on Twitter and post. There's one girl on Twitter. I can't remember Andrew. I know it starts with RUE or something. She's been reworking landing pages or layout of apps for like 100 days now. Like if I have a job somewhere, like I would not even think twice. I would give it. She doesn't even have to apply. I just go and call her and say, Alpha, come and work with me. You're brilliant. It's just because of so what she does is she looks like a layout of something and like she will design it. For example, WhatsApp, but you can see who blocked you, GT, but you can see if your network is bad. And like just a thinking process, you will know that this person first has good UI and UX knowledge. Second is an amazing designer. I don't know if she transitioned. I don't know if I think she's just trying to start out her career, but like it's out there. There was one that she did, she blew up. She got like up to 1,000 retweets, right? Versus someone that is just, starting her career and saying, should I learn Figma? Should I not learn Figma? That kind of uncertainty. So there is some level of work and some level of alternative forgone again, because I studied economics, alternative forgone that has to happen. Like you have to let go of something because you're trying to do something that is uncommon. People start their career in accounting and they do 20 years in accounting and they give up or they retire. But you're trying to move from accounting to maybe finance. Accounting to finance is a career transition, right? Because you're literally moving from like
Mm.
numbers, debit and debit to core finance. Yeah, you're doing EPS, earnings per shares, yada yada yada. So always define what next is for you, count your costs, and then begin to make the sacrifice.
I was going to ask you another question, but you just answered it because I was going to ask what to consider. Well, right now, you have honestly just like really spelled it out, right? But the next, I think, very tough career question to always answer sometimes is always, or two questions is always, should I move from this company to this company? Like so, or should
Ah,
I move from this particular, so for example, you want to move from accounting to finance. For someone like me, I moved from accounting to product management. So
mhm.
is there something that makes you just apart from interest, is there something much more than interest that will make an individual decide I want to move from this particular industry or this particular knowledge to this particular place?
I want to sing Davido's "Na money, na money, na money," but that's a joke. So again, I am not in the mind of people, so maybe I can talk from like my experience, my clients' experiences. I might beg you confidentially, take it. No, I am not. And then like my friends, I have a lot of friends that have moved. a friend who finished from Unilag. Her story is very interesting. She studied law in Unilag, and then she went to the finance solely because she wanted to travel abroad. And Bank of America was coming to her school. She was like, it's finance that will make me leave this Nigeria. Why not? Let us learn it. And then she moved to finance, and then she went to Bank of, like, abandoned law completely. You will not even know that she did law for 5 years in her life. And then she moved to Bank of America Finance. Very smart girl, Unilag. Her name is Bukola almost signed it. I can't remember. Now she's married. I don't even know if she changed her surname. And then had a fantastic career in finance, Bank of America, got promoted twice in 18 months, top senior analyst. Woke up and resigned and said, I'm not doing it again. And she went to take CIPD. Yes, she took CIPD. CIPD is like equivalent of CIPM in Nigeria, right? So it's like a people HR global certification. Took CIPD, did a master's in HR and something analytics, and now she's into HR. I like all this because she graduated 2018. So all this have happened in like 6 years. In 6 years, she moved from law to finance, from finance to HR. Right. When she moved from law to finance, it was just she wanted to leave Nigeria, and Bank of America was offering a way to leave Nigeria, and so she jumped on it. When she moved from finance to HR, it was like, hey, this job has gotten me here. I've gotten this work visa. Is this what I want to keep doing, or is there something else that I'm interested in? Okay, I'm interested in people management. Fine. Let's get the certification. Let's do a master's. Again, remember now I was talking about career pivots, and I was talking about things that can make you pivot easily, right? So a master's and like a global certification helped her pivot easily. If she wakes up tomorrow now and she says she's doing product management, I won't even be surprised. So because she's naturally adventurous. Not everybody's adventurous like that. So it really determines it really depends on like what's your makeup. I know people that are really secure, they just want to do one job and they are very happy with it. Work in a non-toxic environment, do good job, see their impact, and move. I know people that move jobs because they're in a big company, earning good money, having big brand on their CV, but then a lot of their work are not impactful. There's one of my acquaintances, again, I have plenty of stories. There's one of my acquaintances, she's now in Canada, who left a very big company, like very, very big. I will not mention their name, but they are very, very big with very, very big pay. So a small fintech that wanted to kill her life just because in the big company, even though she was a product manager and everything, in 18 months she had not shipped a product. So she was just literally a product manager by title, earning the money, eating lunch, going on company trip. But she had not done impactful work. And then she joined this startup and like in 10 months before she left for Canada, she had shipped like thank God, you guys are founders, so
Just
you
the
know
shit.
you just the ship. She could
That's
like
true.
what she did in 10 months was maybe like times 10 of what she did in that big company in 18 months. So for her, it was I cannot, this is comfortable, but I do not want comfort. I want impact, right? So different things can drive different people, right? And like I always, even when I'm not, I mean, half of the time I always talk about career, but even when I'm not talking about career, like it's very important that you know your why, because when you know your why, then when other things like come and distract you, you will know why you are doing this thing. So why are you moving from one company to the other? Is it a better pay? Is it you want a big name on your CV? Right now, I'm very concerned about having a solid name on my CV, right? So because of the kind of places I've worked, where I want to work next has to be like a reputable company. I'm not even in a hurry. I'm going to wait it out till it comes, right? Because I'm not exactly stranded. For some people, that might not be priority. Priority might be get good money. They need to leave country, so they are saving, or they need to buy land at Tekwe. So they need money. That is not my own priority right now. Money is not like it's not. If I like money, but like it's not right. So what is your priority? What is your why? I like trust me, guys. No why is bad. I've given you a why as a money. I've given you, impact. I've given you global opportunities. No why is wrong or like if you like money, please go for it. My friends say I don't like money. If you like global names, please go for it. If you like impact, go for it. But just be sure that you know why you're making that move, and then it would guide your decision.
Thank you so much. Like just to hear about, and it's fine that you mentioned that the why can be different, and there is no bad why.
No,
You
there's
can if it's money, na money, yeah, just follow it and be following it and be going. Now, the aspect of money, an aspect of money part is really important. Now you're in a job. Let's say you've gotten in, you're working for like maybe a year or two. How do you convince your ogas or your bosses that it's time for a salary increase? How do you justify? How do you structure that conversation? Because I know that it's always a very dicey conversation to have, especially if there is
Mhm.
no typical structure of how they increase pay. But how
Mhm.
do you do that right now? Maybe what are the likely tips that you can tell someone looking to ask their boss, CEO, this
The
money, can you
salaries.
top it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting that you asked this question because there was a trend, there was a tweet that blew up last week. I don't know if you guys saw it. About someone that went to interview with another company, ensured that he got the best maximum offer possible. So say it was any 1 million naira, and he went to like intentionally, it's hot cake obviously for him to be able to pull that out.
Yeah.
Went to interview like companies similar industries, right? Interview like three of them, got three offers, negotiated one that really wanted him, got him, so he moved like 1 million to like 2.5. And so he carried that offer and went to
Interesting.
show his boss. Do you want me to go?
Just
I literally have an offer that is 250%. Is it 150% or 250? 250, right? Of what you're paying me. So it's
hmm,
better increase my salary. That's very risky, by the way. But I know people that have done it before. But like I've had friends reach out to me that, sure, if you go write me one new offer letter like this, make I use them. And that's very unethical, by the way. So don't do it. Yeah, so that's an extreme way. A practical way within industry. One, I like to say this, and I say this when I teach compensations and benefits. It's very important that you know a company's paying power. It's totally different if the company has the money and they are not paying you. I think again, because I spend half of my life on Twitter, as I told you, I don't have a job. I saw one tell Netflix to call me, by the way, please. You people need to, if you are listening to this
Netflix.
and I see you and you need a badass, I can
Netflix.
pay in dollars too. If not, tell Netflix to call me. So I was on Twitter and I was seeing this thread about how um let me see, I'm trying to remember the tweet now. What, okay, I can't remember. So I will just make my point, and then if I remember the tweet, I would come around. So the first thing is really like, okay, yeah, I remember the tweet now. So someone had gotten like relocation, right? And he had told his company that he was relocating. And because his role, there's something called the specialized role. Don't want to delve into that. If there's another question, I'll answer it. But his role was specialized role. It means that like it was one of the two people that can do his role. There are some roles that have
Okay,
that level of
interesting.
specialization and expertise, right? So, and it was only 250,000 naira per month,
Hmm.
which was ridiculous. So the company had moved his pay from 250,000 naira to 800,000 naira because they didn't want him to go. And so he had asked me all this, asked me anything. He had asked, I think, a career consultant on Twitter that, hey, what should I do? And like, it's better dump the company and go because so what had happened was his wife had a dependent visa. So his wife had traveled like 6 months
Uh,
earlier to handle healthcare and everything. So they just try, and you know how it is with immigration and you're just relocation, you're just trying your luck. You don't know what works. But luckily for the
exactly.
wife did not just like move on. She got a job that allowed her to bring a dependent. And of course, her husband was her first dependent. She was asking the question that, oh, should he go to his wife's place and start again, or should he wait and collect the 800k job? And then while we did that conversation, they moved to the 800k job to 1.2 million. That's how you know that Nigerian companies are wicked. Because the question said was, if you could pay this person, well, if you had the ability, let's even forget the
To
1.2, let's
be,
leave it at
yeah,
800. If you had the ability to pay the person 800k, why were you paying him 250? So I'm not talking about that kind
250.
of scenario, but there are genuinely companies that are limited in paying power. When I was at CarWise, yeah, when I was at CarWise, even when I was at, so there's a company I worked with, I rarely mentioned it, Ninja Startups. It's owned by Rami Diabe. It was like a community of burgeoning startups. And that was back then, 2017, when there was no boom like this. I think only Paystack had gone to YC. Right. So when I'm recruiting, so one of the things I do was I help the startups in the community recruit for talent. So sometimes like I interview amazing talent and they mention how much they want to earn. I'm like, see, this money you're asking for, you want it. But my company, my clients cannot
Cannot
pay
pay.
it. Right. And I even did that, right? So like that's a different ball game, right? So it's very important that you first know the company's purchasing power. Yeah, paying power. So how
Yeah.
do you then know who is the highest earning person in the company and like how much do they earn? And they don't even have to give you an exact number. You can ask for a range. You can make friends with people at the top. For example, you are a product manager again because my hosts are product managers. So you're a middle level product managers. You're earning 500k per month. You want to move to 800k per month, or you think that in 6 months you want to start earning 1 million naira. Now, first, is there anybody even earning 1 million naira in your company? That's a good place to start. If there's nobody anymore being a career in your company, it's better pack your load and start looking for another job, right? But if there is someone that is earning that, that means that if you can demonstrate value, and I'm telling you guys this for free, people's salary have doubled in the place that I worked before, literally doubled. There's a company-wide raise. Everybody was getting increase. I also got an increase. I think I got like 40 or 60%. I can't remember. But someone's salary doubled just because she was massive, massive, massive value to the company. That's why I'm not intentionally not mentioning the company. Right. So because we've established that, oh, this company has the paying power. So when the company has the paying power, then you can apply these three tips. Tips number one: try to imagine what will happen if you are not in your role and write it down. So if I stop being a product manager, what are the things that will go missing? One, this product will not ship. Two, these clients will lose them because I'm the only one that have a relationship with them. Three, these designers will leave because I'm the only product manager that they like working with. Four, the customer experience will not be happy because of all the product managers that we have. I'm the nicest. Five, like list all those things. Two, list the things that you've done in the last 6 months. You shipped a product. I'm using product manager because that's my context, right? You shipped a
Yeah.
product. The product you shipped had $1,000 in the first 3 months. You implemented a superb landing page that got more visitors to the blog. You wrote a contributing article for the growth and marketing team. You joined a Twitter space for growth and marketing team to talk about this. You represented the company at a tech conference and people asked for your company because you spoke very well at the conference. These things that you think do not matter, everything, put it there. Then show the impact of what will happen if you did not do those things, like the difference.
Mm.
And then your next performance review, present your stuff, right? Two things will happen. Like it doesn't mean that it will translate to automatically results. Two things will happen. If your team leader, your manager, or if you relate to the co-founder accepts that all the things that you've narrated is true, that means like your perception of value have increased. That also means that I don't know. I was somewhere recently where someone said, "Oh, she resigned." Okay, yeah, the meeting where someone said she resigned and people were like, "Oh, why are you going?" That means that at that point she had measured her value and she was not found wanting. So
Yeah.
either they increase your pay or not. What happens when you do that is that you've measured your value and you are not found wanting. So either the company increases your value, your pay, which is because people pay for value, companies pay for value, no matter what the value is. That's what, if you're a listener, you need to know that your value is not just functional. It's like the whole of you, your personal brand, your extra effects, all the things that you bring to the office, how you are like the life of the party, how you are the fixer, how when they have events, you are the MC. All those things are actually value you bring to the table. It's not just what you do everything. I had one of my friends got retained at the job because they said her partner, she's a legal professional. Her partner looked at the department and said, if this person leave, this place will be boring. And like that's
Yeah.
what she got to use. Right. So I'm just trying to demonstrate what value looks like. Like it's not just the functional competence you bring to the table, it's or the whole of you, right? So when you've had that conversation, either it leads to a salary increase or not, your perception of value have increased. And then with that, you can start interview externally if they do not give you a
Mm.
salary increase. But it's very important that you do those two things. One, list all the things that will happen if you are not in your role. Two, list all the impactful things that you've done in your role. Then, quantify it either in numbers, either in money. I think it was one of my friend Cornelius that was telling me that, so you don't know how it was even a salary discussion. I got that raise that happened. But my
Yeah.
first raise was 40%. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take 40% from you. And then I had a chat with one of my friends, and I demonstrated, say, this is what will happen if I was not in this role. I've been the only HR in this role for 2 years, yada, yada, yada. And then the 40% moved to 60%, right? So,
Mm.
yeah, I think that those are see, I share fact that worked for me. I don't even know. See.
Yeah, thank you so much for what, because I like the fact that, and maybe because you've worked in obviously a startup that doesn't have enough resources, and
Money,
you've also
yeah,
seen a startup that has enough resources, so you have enough context that people
right.
might not even have entirely. Some people are just in, I'm working and that's it, but you don't even know the pay that you're asking for. The highest person might be earning 500K in the company, and you're looking for 750, or you're looking for 1 million, and it doesn't work
Mhm.
that way. So it's really interesting that at least you provided that level of context, and really appreciate it. For example, now I
Mhm.
wanted to ask, what if you love this company and they've actually said, yeah, great, you've provided this value, but at this point in time, um, we cannot even increase, we don't have the bandwidth to increase it. Is there an alternative negotiation that can happen in that sense? Let's say maybe they might increase in maybe the next 3 months. But for now, what is a win for you? Something that you can take over and say, I got out of this negotiation.
Very brilliant. That's a very brilliant question. So again, going into everything, this always know your why. I know people that are like a sort of loyalists that did. I even know someone. He worked with the company for 5 years before he traveled. Like he graduated, joined this company, and worked with them for 5 years. Like he'd never
Wow.
switched company, and it's not like the company. It's not like he could not have gone to another company to earn money. It's just like, oh, I should not start getting to go to another company, getting to know new people. No, I'm going to stick it. Just the stress of leaving one company, the other company, to get to know new people and try to. And there's something also called career capital, right? If you work somewhere and like you're an excellent person, you build career capital over time, right? Which is one of the reasons why I do not support a lot of career transitions frequently. So when I could get a new place, I mean, some people are badass anyway. They can build career capital again in like 3 months. So that was just someone's valid reason of not changing company. I just want to put that out there. Now, if you're that kind of
Mm,
person, for instance, an equity might be happy for you. You might say, okay, yeah, if you don't have money, yeah, give me equity now, or give me shares, or
mm.
give me stock, or give me 2% of this. I have very ridiculous. I've had someone add our manager, she's a lady, send a promissory email and copy the finance manager before. So the email went like, oh, we do not, the company does not have the ability to increase your yada 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 right now, but at the next performance review, as against the 25%, as against the 25% increase you have gotten now, you'll be getting 50% increase in the next 6 months. I was documented. And when she got the email, she
Wow.
forwarded it to a lawyer. And this company, they have sent it. It's just she got the increase. We're lucky for her. The business also like I think the business got like a big contract, and so the raise actually had to happen either for her or not,
Happen.
right? So she ended up getting like
Interesting.
the raise. But that's a very risky approach. Again, in that conversation, the most important thing is the perceived increase in value,
In value.
right? When that has been locked down, every other thing are like danceable. You can now make demands. You can say, oh, okay, yes, you don't have money now. So when are you going to give me a raise? Oh, when like even as an HR person, like talents have come to meet me before, yada yada. I'm like, okay, you cannot get a raise now because we just did a general raise 3 months ago. But we are doing another one in the next 6 months, and like trust me, you will be priority. You would get extra of what everybody's getting according to salary. Again, if you're an HR, this will help a lot because everywhere I've worked, I've implemented salary band. But the thing also about salary band is like there are ranges, right? And then the difference from one
Mm,
range to another can be as high as 100K or 150K depending on how high the range is. So for me, I've not had a lot of like salary related challenges because people have an idea of what they're going to earn next. But if you're not in that kind of scenario, you can like negotiate different things. You can do an IOU, you can get a stock, you can get an equity, you can get something interesting. I've given a talent like a sign up bonus before. I've given a talent performance bonus. And with this is why I said I can spend 3 hours just taking compensation and benefits. So a talent has asked for a raise before. And then because I knew the company was not going to do any raise anytime soon, I just gave the person performance bonus. And everybody was
mm.
happy. But then that performance bonus would not even have happened if like the person did not first demonstrate value to our manager and then our manager like because I could not even go and ask the company for raise. That was the thing. But this
Yes.
person had demonstrated value, had showed value to me. So I just went to tell the founders, this person, they will poach her. So, like, okay, so we cannot do this now. What do you suggest we do? And like, okay, let's try this one. I said she will agree. And then she got a performance bonus, very good money, like 75% of her monthly net pay. Again, that money
Interesting.
was on the table. I mean, even the HR, so it's not even like I was a bad person. I did not even know that that money was on the table. And if she did not have that conversation, I will not know that that money was on the table. It was when she had that conversation, which is also why people blame HRs, right? If I do not give you the whole context now, you might think, oh, HR. What HRs will not do is what me I went to do. Like I went to meet the founders to say, I know that's the difference between like exceptional HRs and like normal HRs, the kind that people drag on Twitter.
Yeah.
So normal HRs will just say, hey, there is no raise, we are not doing raise, we don't have money, and they'll move on. But like the extra mile is really me saying, yes, so we do not have money. As an HR, I know that we do not have money or that we are not doing a raise anytime soon. So how can I ensure that this talent feels valued and this talent is happy? What can we do? Right. So and it wasn't even again because the question would then be someone might be listening to this and say, where does transparency come in? It was very transparent because this person was an outlier. So in fact, at that point, if we
Mm,
had doubled her salary, nobody would be angry because everybody knew that she was an outlier. And when everybody's going home at 7 p.m., that's when our work just starts. So it
mm.
wasn't even like a wrong thing. But the point was, if she did not have that compensation conversation, that money that came from nowhere would not have come from nowhere to our account. So
Exactly. In all of these things you've mentioned, I think one prevailing thing is bring value, be a high performing person.
show the value.
Because
Like it's not just enough to bring
so
it. Because
show value.
no, I'm telling you honestly, some people don't know. Some find that just see it as normal. So you have to remind them that this is not normal. Hey,
It's
I
not normal.
did do extra. I did do extra for you. So
Oh, what do you think about? Because I know. as your job essentially is in those kind of teams is to create the culture of performance, to create the culture of showing value and building more value. How do you define, how do you build that? How do you position the team? Because I've seen founders say, oh, we're a family. I've seen other founders say we're a team, right? So what's the difference between those two? Are they not showing value? Are they not showing, high performance? What does that,
Sorry,
what's
I
your
missed the
take on
last
that?
thing you said.
Yeah, so I was saying that in all of this, it's always going to boil down to showing value, bringing value to the team. From a HR perspective, what's the work positioning looking like when people say, "Oh, we're a family" versus "we're a team"?
Oh, okay.
I know that
Oh,
we've
okay.
heard those two factions before. What do you think
Yeah,
about
that.
that?
So, honest opinion, I do not think that people should say they are a family. And again, this is shaped by the kind of companies that I am a big fan of and like that I've studied their culture. I think that people are teams. I think that people are not family. The people have over abused that family term. I feel like when when people say they are, oh, but like, if you follow career body, they were like, oh, me applying to seven other families. We are family here. We try to apply to seven other families. I think that people do not understand how impactful being a team is. I watch, okay, I do not watch a lot of documentaries anymore. K drama has taken over. But there's a time in my life when I used to watch a lot of documentaries. One of my favorite documentaries is like military or sports documentaries. I mean, if you're a leader or like a people manager, I have a friend, Akindele. She thinks that everybody, if you're a leader or a people manager, should watch a lot of like military and sports documentaries because there's a lot of psychology and sociology that you can learn from that. When you realize that you're a team, it literally means that me, Jose Maria, and Adebisi are a team. If I do not show up for this podcast, I have affected their day. In fact, maybe I've
Mm,
affected their brand perception for the next 1 month because they promised their
mm,
audience that they are going to have, and maybe in their last episode, they promised that, oh, the next guest is a badass HR professional that will be sharing career tips, yada, yada, yada. And then I disappoint. I do not just disappoint myself. I do not just disappoint Jose Maria and Adebisi. I have disappointed like 1,000 or 10,000 listeners listening to them. And then when people view teams that way, they would realize that maybe teams are even more important than family, right? Because it literally means that I am doing my part. And that's why if you watch either it's football, either it's basketball, if it's a basketball, your job is to guard. But you just guard. Let those that need to score do the scoring. Right. If it's football, if it's hockey. That's why when you go to work, some people's work is to monitor the ship and ensure that enemy do not come in from the back. And that is all you have to do. Let those that are the front go and fight. If those are the front go and fight and then you don't monitor your stuff, then the enemy is coming from the back and then the battle is lost. So when people realize that team is actually very pivotal, every element of the team matters. It's important that everybody show up. If the product manager ships an amazing product and the marketing team does not market it well, it's shit. If the marketing team markets it well and the social media manager forgets to post that, oh, we are launching a new product next week, if the effect is gone or the months of labor is gone, if the everybody does their job, but engineering is supposed to write a code of 0 plus 1 and it wrote 0 minus 1 and people's money gets credited instead of debited, a lot of work is gone. So team is, I strongly believe that team is actually more stronger when it comes to corporate and performance, perspective than family. Because when people know how important it is to be in a team and to show up for your team, they will know that like it's no joke. Like so, I'm a big fan of like team, over family.
awesome. So that's really important. Just build a team. You can't be telling your family that what's the OKR for this quarter. It's not what.
Yeah. People try to use family in terms of culture, but I think that you can have an excellent culture as a team. You can be very dependable, and like you see it in sports, people show up for their teammates outside the field. They say, "Oh, their teammate is an amazing leader." One of my favorite basketballers right now is a Jerry Reese. She just got drafted to Chicago Skies. So she's because she's very popular. She also gets a lot of backlash, right? And just recently, she just graduated from LSU, and like her teammates came to social media to show up for her that you guys do not know Riz. Like you guys are saying Riz, the tall, flashy girl wearing Prada and whatever brand it is. No, that is not Riz. That Riz is the person that shows up for us on the field, that says, oh, you had an outbreak, take a day off, that takes our members to lunch because they did not perform, that wants to know why they are not showing up. Riz is that person that when they are losing by 20 points, she tells the point 20 points is just 7 turnovers. We get 7 turnovers, we are ahead with 21 points, right? So when people really just realize that there can be familiarity, there can be dependability, even as a team, they will realize that you do not have to say we're a family to cultivate the culture of excellence.
That's actually amazing. Jose Maria always says it in the office, and he's always saying, "Oh, we're not a family. We're not a family." And I'm like, okay. But I really like how you were able to mention how not being a family and as a team, if you look at it as a team, this is how you should look at it. And I think that this is so important for founders, right? We're already winding down. I absolutely don't want this to end, but we have to wrap it up. Well, I think I have a question before we go into our light up session. The question would be, as a founder, how can you indeed build a high performing team that is producing results? Right? So I don't know. I saw one tweet where if you want to pretend like you're working, very hard working in the office, just working up and down, just be working up and down. So my real question here is, how can I, as a founder, build a team that actually delivers like absolute results and excellent results?
Hmm. Okay, so 3 bullet points. One, be an
Mm.
excellent person.
Mhm.
Two, create systems and structure that reward excellence. Three,
Mhm.
hire excellent people. So there's a company I got a rejection mail from like yesterday, no, this midnight, which is why like I binged into the night. And like I mean, I felt bad and stuff, but listening to their because I got to the final stage of the interview, right, before they sent me a rejection mail. Listen to like how they recruit, because I have an idea of how they recruit, like all that goes into like the process. I'm not even surprised. If I mention the company, you will know it. So I'm not gonna mention it. I'm not surprised about how excellent like they are. They are like their hands are the best. I don't want to say the best startups. So I can comfortably say the best fintech to work in Nigeria, and maybe one of like the
Mm.
top 3 startups to work in Nigeria. And like they are excellent. Like so, I have like acquaintances that work there. There's no doubt about how excellent they are, and it just shows going through the recruitment process up to the final round. I know I just like if anybody goes through this, I guess selected the person store. Do you get right? So one is to be an excellent person. Like define, let people know that like you're excellent. Second, build a system that rewards excellence. What I notice is that because founders, a lot of founders like me, that's why I don't like the word founder. I'm not sure if I don't become founder. Okay, I can't deny it anymore. But yeah, it's very important that like you do not absorb mediocrity at any point, right? You do not tolerate it at all. I like it might sound brutal, but that's literally the difference between like companies that are excellent and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
so the company that like somebody had said, oh, like because I was listening to the recruitment, like if someone is not a strong yes, they will not hire the person. In one of the places I worked, what we had was like A plus, and like B's. We do not hire anybody below B's. And the only reason why we hire B's is that we believe that this role, maybe the role we're hiring for, is not that crucial. And then with the kind of learning and development, we can move you to an A. And then for B's that we hire, like it's always their probation is always very strict, because so things happen in their probation. They either move to an A or they drop to a C. Right. And
Mm.
then when the doctor is here, because you're coming into a culture of excellence, right? And so you either get overwhelmed by the excellence that we have, or you get inspired by the excellence that we have, right? And then if you get
Mm.
inspired, then you're also like able to jog up, move up, and everything. And our probation is not 3 months, it's 6 months. So don't worry, take all the time, learn all the learning, ask for all the courses,
Mm.
spend extra time with people, catch up with managers, take people to lunch. And that's I've given you like 2 different companies with like 2 different systems that they have put in place to like encourage excellence. So it's just like people. It's just social interaction. When if you watch football a lot, like they say, that club has spoiled that player. Oh, the player was good, and then he joined the club, and you've also seen, oh, the player improved a lot when he moved from this club to this club. Thank God he went, to this club. Oh, the manager, brought the best out of this player, and that's literally how it is. A company can either like make you or mar you, and you as a founder also, a talent can either like there's something we call, and I think that the company interviews when they were talking about it, they also used it. So there is something we call like a what's the word? It's a catalyst. So if I'm bringing in someone to this team, is the person lifting the aggregate value of the team, or is it reducing it? The worst that should
Mm.
happen is that the aggregate value is the same.
True, very
You should not
close.
bring in someone that would reduce the aggregate value to the team. An ideal situation is where the extra person you are bringing in increases the aggregate value, right? But even if the person is not increasing the value, can the person at least, maintain the value? So
Much.
back to the 3 points. One, be an excellent person. Two, systems and processes that reward excellence. That includes like compensations, that includes performance bonuses, that includes like monthly rewards, like whatever systems you want to put in place. And then like hire excellent people. Those are like just like three ways to, you know, build like an
Mm.
excellent company.
Thank you so much. I really like that you mentioned you started with the founder. You can't really build what you are not, and you can't really give what you don't even have. So that's actually very important. And we're moving to almost my favorite part of the entire session, where we ask you random questions just to get to know you and just to
Ah,
wrap up. So I
that's
think my
fine.
first question, you watch a lot of movies. My first question was, what's your all-time favorite movie? What's that movie that you would watch 10 times, 10 million times, again and again and again?
I feel like that changes every year. I cannot even list my top five movies. Yeah, but I think like right now, like a movie I would maybe I say a movie I would always recommend. So at this point, right now, the movie I would always recommend is Agency. If you're a startup person, especially if you're like marketing, sales, branding, you absolutely should see Agency. It's a K drama, obviously by now you should know. But like it's exciting because it's set in like a startup setting. It just talks about like just different things that goes into ideating to executing ideas, a lot of office politics, obviously, but like if you're a marketer, you should absolutely watch it. Another one is actually The Startup. There's a movie called The Startup. It's a K drama too. If you are a startup founder or you work in startup, all my friends that have worked in startup, when they meet me, they ask me, I recommend it, and they all come back to thank me because it usually just talks through the end to end of startup, like VC funding, talent acquisition, hiring. Like it's very technical. In fact, the first sense of every movie, they pick a terminology and they define it. So if they want to talk about venture capital, so the first thing is actually them defining what venture capital is, what venture capitalists do, and then you know that that episode is going to be about venture capitalists, right? Incubators, accelerators. So you should actually watch the startup. And if you are sleeping on K drama, this is for you. K drama is not about romance, there are a lot of other things. Yeah, so the startup and
Thank
agency,
you.
those are like my favorite movies right now.
Thank you for directly throwing a very good shot at my co-host. I hope
Oh,
wherever he is, the shot hit him there in a very good
how
way.
awesome.
So we're creating a Spotify playlist for all of our listeners, I mean all of our guests that have come rather. So what's your all-time favorite song? Or what is one song that kind of describes you in a way, or you want us to add?
So if you'd asked me this question in 2022, I would have an answer. But
Mm-hmm.
towards the end of 2022, I became like really adventurous with music. I mean, like the things is still like constant. I listen to Christian hip hop, Christian Afrobeat, Christian jazz, Christian blues, and small Nigerian song. So it's now very hard. So I listen to NF. So maybe my songs will likely be from NF. So I would say NF options. NF options. I will tell you why. The chorus of the song is I gotta make it or make it. I gotta make it or make it. These are the options. These are the options. So anytime I'm discouraged, they just send me rejection mail. Oh, I got a major disappointment. Oh, I'm about to give up. I just got played. I got to make it or make it. Like there is literally no other option. That I'm making it. So then let me add one more. So I think Beautiful Day by Jamie Grace. So Beautiful Day is like that very happy, feel good song. Wake up and smile. It's been a while. Yeah, so like if your day, how I think I saw a tweet that you ever start your day like 1,000 million thoughts. So if you start your day in that way, if you play Beautiful Day by Jamie Grace, just a way that it just lifts your spirits. It makes you see like the possibilities of a new day, like how a new day is literally like a new chapter entirely. No matter what happened like the last day, like and that new day can be like the day, YC will give you people $20,000 or your products,
Mm-hmm.
get 1 million followers, or Netflix will finally call me, right? So it just shows the possibility that happens like in a new day. So Options by NF and Beautiful Day by Jamie Grace. I feel unpatriotic by now and a Nigerian singer, so let me
That's fine.
find
That's fine.
one Nigerian singer. No, I'm going to add it. Yeah, One Day Shola, Bless Up. So that's all. So
Hmm.
it's interesting that I
That's
mentioned One
very
Day Shola
interesting.
because One Day is a Nigerian that grew up in America, so she's not a Nigerian anymore. But yeah, she's a Nigerian. I mean, from the name itself.
You still did not
So
give the Nigerian eventually, but okay. If you
Her name
say
is
so.
Foundation. What do you mean?
So two questions and we'll call it a day. So
Okay.
I think on your YouTube, I there was an episode where you just reviewed books, and I think those books that you reviewed were amazing. There were two parts.
Oh.
So what would be your best book? Like what book is really like you would say top the chart right now? I know you did 20, but I would like to say what is number one for you?
Yeah, so if you're a career person, every career person should read So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know who stole my copy or who I bought my copy and did not return, but I'm about to order a new one from overnight. Because like it's a book I read at least once a year or once in 2 years, and I don't think I read it last year, so I want to read it again. Like there was a time in my life that I read So Good They Can't Ignore You and the Defining Decade every year from like I think from like 25 to 28. Don't ask me how old I am. Yeah, I think that my age is in social media right now. Yeah, so every career person, if you're a 9 to 5, you're a founder, everybody should read So Good They Can't Ignore You. I think that like the lessons in that book are just really amazing.
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
So, final light-up questions would be what's the best advice you've ever gotten?
More people know they to advise me like that though. They used to think I know everything. I used to go and beg, "Okay, advise me. Please advise me." Yeah. One that really stuck with me. It's interesting that it's an advice, but I had to learn the better way because I not listen to the advice. This one is hard because people are go funders. Okay, so the first one is that do not take a job just for the money. Like,
Hmm.
and it's very hard. That advice is very hard because, like, you're in Nigeria, inflation rates they are bandicizing electricity and petrol, and Indomie is now 250. How much is Indomie now? Is it 300? Right. So it's hard to tell a
350.
Nigerian not to take a job for the money. But if you look
Hmm.
at the job, and the only reason why you are taking that job is the money, I advise you not to take it. And
Hmm.
the reason is because there are a lot of jobs that can give you money. So you might be moving from 250K per month to 1 million naira per month today, and that is like huge money. That's 400%. Remember my song, Beautiful Day, and like the next day,
Mhm.
a recruiter will reach out to you 1.5 million. And so you want to
Hmm.
ensure that if I get an higher offer today, are there other reasons for me to say no
Wow.
outside money? Yeah.
Hmm. This was
So
amazing. And this is me publicly announcing that you're
Amazing.
amazing, you know your stuff, you know your onions. And to be very honest, as I'm really proud of
Thank
you.
you.
I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you.
I'm really proud.
I know it's not going to say it, but please check out his consulting company. If you're anywhere in your career, trust me, EF is the best person. And if you're telling him, he's just like the best person to talk to. Very easy to speak to. Then also he has an HR clinic coming up, an HR class coming up. That has not closed. So please, by the time this episode is out, has it closed?
so let me talk about that. Yeah, so like
Yes,
I did
please.
an HR workshop, like yeah, it's ongoing. It will be recorded and it
Okay.
would be put on seller. But the one I really want to talk about is like HR clinic. HR clinic is for
Hmm.
funders. And yeah, so if you're a
Okay.
founder, you're like, you've made your MVP or pre-series, you do not have fundings for like an in-house HR and you have people related challenges. That's why I launched HR Clinic. So HR Clinic is like a subset of Luminous Consult, right? So you can book a session for 30 minutes or for 1 hour. The interesting thing and the most exciting thing, I think I should start marketing this thing very well, is that you pay what you can afford. So there's no bill. So you can literally go there and say, all I can afford is $100. And you speak to me for as long as you want for $100. I can be generous, and give me $1,000. I don't mind. But I think that's really the most exciting thing about HR Clinic. You can speak with
Interesting.
me and get enough value for as long as possible for the amount you can afford. Right. So I think that's you should try that. It's anywhere on my profile or anywhere on Luminous Consult's profile. They would say HR Clinic.
Again, I'm almost forced to ask, like, who are you? Because how are you not putting a fixed amount on it? Please be very
Mm.
generous and pay him 5K because it's even worth more. $5K dollars, oh, okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for making the Angry Money Pod like a very amazing pod. Like I'm sure that this episode, I personally like again as I always say, Angry Money is for me first before the entire public. So you
Exactly.
people, I love you guys, but you people are after me. So thank you so much. So thank you so much. And hi guys, we
Thank
have
you.
come to the end of the Angry Money Pod. Please like, subscribe, and share, like definitely share to everybody. So if you're a founder, you're an operator, or you're just starting out your career, this particular episode is that one for you. So please go over it again and again. And the book you recommended, Too Good to Ignore, is also very, very, very good. So please check it out. And yeah, cheers guys. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.